Okay guys, it's time to begin the process of readjusting the steering head bearing, one of the major components of the running in service. So first things first, you got to get the bike prepped here. So basically what I'm doing here is just covering and protecting all of the surfaces that could possibly be damaged that are cosmetic and we don't want to have damage. So, and that includes the nut you see here and the bridge, just to make sure we don't get any tool marks on anything. So that's the first step. Now, BMW does not cover taking off the windscreen, but I'm going to be taking the windscreen off. Just makes it a little bit easier, and I'm not on the clock. I'm not working at a shop, so you know, I'm not worried about the time involved. So that's first. I'm gonna get the windscreen off. Okay, just a quick note too. You can see there the amount of thread that the factory has coming out on the fasteners for the windscreen. It's about a thread or two poking through the other side, and the fastener's a T20. So I'm gonna just gauge it by that as far as tightening them back down when I get the windscreen back in for the fasteners. So there's that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the windscreen out. I've come up on this side and pulled it back because there's grommets on here. You got to get one side and then kind of work it out. So just kind of slide it out and away. There it is. No scratches. So that's how you want to take that off. And just as carefully putting it back in too. So now we got all this open in here. We don't have to worry about knocking tools onto that windscreen or anything like that. So that's a good deal. Okay, next up here is that we have to remove the fork cover here and the fastener. That's the next step in the process. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up and ready to go. And we'll secure that. And again, that's actually a metal fastener. And then we're going to carefully pull that up and away. And that exposes the wire there for the DDC. And there's also a grommet in here as well. And it doesn't look like the factory did a very good job of lining it up. It looks like they actually pinched it a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can't rectify that when I get it all back together. And so there's that first thing there. So this is the cover here. You can see there's a groove, the cover that I just took off. You see that? See if I can get in there on that little groove right there. So those two are supposed to line up, and I suppose it's to help keep the water out or whatever. So when you put that back together, make sure that that's lined up. So I'm sure I'll mention that again. Okay, so the next thing up here, adjust the camera a little bit, is going to be to disengage the brake fluid reservoir, and that requires a T30, and we're just going to take it and loosen it up, take it off the bridge here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be taking this bolt out right here. So carefully out. There it is. Easy with the tool. Okay, so we've got it loosened up all the way here, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring that out. Okay, so what I did here is I went ahead and I zip tied it onto the plastic panel here, just kind of protecting it a little bit, but you can see that it's disengaged from the bridge. Time to move on. Okay, now back over here on the other side, zoom out just a little bit there. We've got two straps here that are going to need to come off, so those are coming off next. They're just rubber with a little button, so we're just going to unbutton them so that way the DDC wire is loose and free to move when we take the bridge off. So here you can see now the point of taking those straps off, so it just kind of disengages the cable here from the bundle, so you can move the bridge around when you take it off. That was really the point of that. Okay, next up here is going to be taking the main nut off here, off the steering head, and I've got it covered up here so it doesn't get tool marks on it. But you need a 12-point socket, and this is a 36 millimeter, and I'm going to be using a breaker bar to take it off. What you see here is that I have the steering turned full left lock, and that way I'm using the frame and the steering stop to hold everything in place while I remove the nut. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and come up to the front here, and I'm going to hold this socket down so it doesn't walk itself off because it's got a lot of tape on there, and I'm going to go ahead and counterclockwise, anti-clockwise, and we'll break it loose. There it is. Carefully. Again, engage it and break it loose. There it is. It's loose. So that is loose and ready to take off, and it looks like our tape did the job. This will also require on the reassembly Loctite. Okay, so there it is. The steering head nut is off. There's also a washer on here that's going to have to come out too, so we'll keep those together. We don't want to lose them. Okay, so we've got two bolts to remove here. These pinch bolts here. There's one, only the top ones are going to be removed. This one here and this top one here. The bottom ones do not come off, so those are coming off next. I have to work around the clutch cable here, but there you can see the pinch bolt. I need to lift up here a little bit on the clutch cable, and there it is. There's one. Now we got to get the other. Okay, remember just the top one here. This is the right hand side. It's not a real high torque. As you can see, it comes off pretty easy there, and you can actually see the metal separate a little bit there too when the bolt's disengaged. And there we are. Out. Okay, so I'm just thinking about a couple of other things here before I just go trying to take the bridge off here. I want to be careful about the adjuster on this side for the forks. That is, at least it feels like an aluminum, and I definitely don't want that to get scratched. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just being very careful about how I want to pull the bridge up, but I gave it a kind of a pull in the center here with my thumbs and then pulled up on it, and it does come up. It makes a pretty ugly sound, but it's going to be covered anyway. So, and I also put some marks too. I don't know if I'll need them or not, the index marks, because really this thing should be going back down on the bottom brackets for the handlebars, so I don't think that'll be an issue. But I'm not going to pull it all the way off just yet, but I'm getting there, right? So I pull it up a little bit higher, and you can start to see there how it's starting to come up. But I need to take care of this. I need to cover it, and I think I'm just going to put some thick tape around it, and that way that doesn't get marred. So I'll take care of that. Okay, so that should be enough to protect that. And now I'm going to go ahead and just continue to carefully move this bridge up. Let's make sure that we've got plenty of free play here on the DDC cable. You don't want to be pulling on that and cause yourself a nightmare. So lower up it comes. Okay, so just kind of fiddling around a little bit here, and I'm going to just try and do like a little side by side here, back and forth. I know it seems kind of strange, but it seems to be working better that way. There it goes. Okay, let's carefully get the other side. Okay, now so we're disengaged. Now my only concern is to make sure that we don't scratch the top of the fork tubes, and so I'm going to be very careful about that. And there we are. Now we don't need to go too far with this, quite honestly. We just need to get it up so we can get at this, or to get at the slotted nuts down here. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up for that. Okay, so here you can see what I've done, I've added some protection here just so we don't have any scratching on the top of the fork tubes. But the one thing I wanted to show you here was the bridge itself. I moved it out of the way. Keep this side low because you've got the clutch cable over here and you've got the DDC wire. So keep it low here and then bring it up this side up and over the brake fluid reservoir. And then what I did is just so it doesn't fall back while I'm working here, I put a couple of zip ties up here and just kind of secured it around the rearview mirror just to keep it up out of the way. And so then you can see here what's going on there. So now a better look at the situation here. Try and keep her steady. And you can see here we've got this washer. I'm going to just go ahead and pull that off, and you can see here it's meant to fit in the slots. And so of course that's going to go ahead and come out. I mean, it doesn't matter which way it goes. I mean, it has to go down, of course, but the orientation's going to change once it's retorqued. And then this top nut here, like I said, it's a real, see, I mean, it just came off by hand, and it's just extremely light, and I hadn't touched it with anything yet. That was just from factory, and I just disengaged it by hand. And so this one comes off. So, well, since I'm getting it, may as well just go ahead and do that then. Okay, so this is the whole point of doing this procedure, is getting at this lower slotted nut here and retorquing that. That's the bottom one. Everything's off and up and out of the way, and like I said, without the specialty tool, and it has to be a deep socket on top of everything else because the stem's fairly long. It needs to go down on here, but I wanted to give you a little shot of that, what that tool looks like when you have it in there. There we go. Let's zoom out just a little bit. Okay, you can see we got the steering locked full right, and so now we can go ahead and do the retorque. Okay, so we're ready to do the torque. I've got the setting of 11 foot-pounds or 15 Newton meters, and I'm going to go ahead and get set up here. There we go. Oh, passed it up. There we are, fully engaged and ready to torque. There it is, right there. All done, and that is 11 foot-pounds, and ready to get ready to put things back together again. And so we're just gonna kind of go in reverse now and see what it looks like when we get all done here, guys. Okay, so I've got the rubber washer back on, and then the top slotted nut, and it's just on there hand tight right now. So the idea then is to get you a better angle here, is to line up the slots with the bottom nut. Now I took this thing off by hand, as you saw, but right now the way it's lined up, see if I can zoom in a little bit here. If I line it up like that, it's too loose. So I may have to go to the next slot. Okay, so here was my decision on this. I was kind of in a little dilemma. So I got the top slotted nut turned down on here, and it engaged with the bottom one, and then was lined up, just kind of hand tight. But the problem is that it was too loose. So the procedures say that it's a tightening torque of 1 Newton meter, which is about 9 inch-pounds. But then it does say that you can turn it further until you can get the circlip or the washer here to engage. So that's what I did, because it was once I put it on there and the rubber washer and the top nut engaged with the bottom nut, with it lined up that way, it was just too loose. So I went ahead and just put the tool on here and then just turned it by hand. Sorry guys, turned it by hand so it came around and lined up with the slots as you see here, and that's it. You know, it's just a worry when you've got a rubber washer underneath. You know, you don't want to pinch that thing, but the procedures say that you can do that. Let's just have a look at that washer there, so you can see it there, and it doesn't look like it's bulging or like it's under too much stress there. So see if I can get a better angle there. Okay, so I brought the bridge down. I had to take the tape off the top of the fork tubes, and I'm going to be really careful in lining everything up here so we don't scratch anything. And it's just a matter of taking your time and getting it right. No scratches, that's the idea here. Okay, so yeah, it's not quite as easy as I thought it was going to be to just lay the bridge back down on here. Actually, the stem here didn't want to quite line up, so I just had to put some, with my legs, some pressure on the front wheel just to kind of get it to move a little bit there. Anyways, I got it to a point where now I can get it the rest of the way on and then finish the procedure. Just a little reminder here. You want the pin on both sides. You want it to engage in the hole on both sides too. So that should just automatically happen once you get the bridge all the way down. But don't forget that those pins are there. So if it's not perfectly lined up, that could be why that's getting hung up there somehow. But shouldn't be an issue. Just wanted to point it out though. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and fully engage those pins. I'm just going to be tapping and get this thing bottomed out. I'm going to double check, make sure that washer hasn't moved. Good. So we get the pins engaged all the way. And that feels pretty good right there. I think we're all the way down as far as it's going to go, and the rest of it will be taken care of with torquing the nut down. So there we are. The bridge is installed again. Continuing. At this point, I'm going to be putting the washer on and the main nut here over the top for the retorque. Now I noticed something here. If you look inside here, you can see that green. So that looks like some sort of factory thread locker. Directions call for this Loctite here. This is 243, a medium, and so I'm going to be using that in place of whatever they did, but I need to clean that out of there as best I can. Okay, you can see here I've cleaned out the other stuff the best I could, but it's a real tough thing to get out of there. So you can see that I've got the blue Loctite in here now. So I'm going to get the washer on, and then we're going to get this thing torqued back down and finish this job up. Okay, let's get the washer back on here, and then we're just going to go ahead and hand tighten the nut on here. Has the Loctite on it, and make sure we don't cross thread it. There it is, nice and free. You can feel that movement there. Okay, so there it is, hand tight now, and now it's just a matter of giving it the torque. Now the spec is 100 Newton meters, so that's about 73 foot-pounds, 73, 74 foot-pounds. I'm going to go 73 for this, and I'm going to go ahead and get that ready. Okay, so we're ready here, and I'm going to keep this socket to a 90 degree so it doesn't walk off when we're torquing it here, and we're just going to go slow. Flow right lock. Nice and snug. Remember, 73 foot-pounds. Getting close. There it is, right there. Okay, double check that. We're good. Okay, guys, that's 73 foot-pounds, or right about 100 Newton meters. Okay, next up is to retighten the pinch bolts here on either side, and so I'm going to go ahead and get that torqued down. Those are 19 Newton meters, or 14 foot-pounds. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get these pinch bolts tightened down here. And torque spec is 14 foot-pounds, so I'll go slow. Okay, so both of the pinch bolts are torqued down to 14 foot-pounds, and moving on to the next step to get everything put back together. Okay, next up, I'm going to go ahead and re-secure the brake fluid reservoir here. Remove that completely. And I'm also using a little Loctite on that, so we're going to get that back in here. Okay, so we got it just hand tighten here, and so I'm going to be torquing this down to, well, it's 8 Newton meters, which is like 6 foot-pounds, and so that's what it's going at right there. We're going to get that torque back down, and it has Loctite in it, and there it is. Okay, so last thing here is to get the cap back on and make sure that this is loose enough here where you've got enough slack, and then we've got to go ahead and get the grooves in here, this little groove in here lined up with that groove, and then we'll secure it down. The little fastener, I mean, this is plastic, you could probably just hand tighten this. It's 26 inch-pounds. I'm going to put that at. So first thing, I want to get this lined up properly. So let me get that taken care of. On this here, I went ahead and just hand tighten that. It's a piece of plastic, and yeah, you don't want it to vibrate out, but I think just a hand tighten on this would be fine. But that's it, guys. So all I have left here to do is get the windscreen back on and take the masking tape off, and this is done. This procedure's finished. Well, guys, there it is, back to factory spec. I've got all of my fasteners indexed so I can keep an eye on them for a little while, make sure nothing moves. But other than that, that's what the dealership does. If you've ever wondered what this procedure was all about, I know when I first bought the bike and they had mentioned that this is one of the major things that has to be done, I just kind of had an idea of what that meant, but to see it in action is a whole nother thing. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and well, now I can get this thing ready to put back on the road and enjoy some riding. So I'll have some riding videos coming up, and sure there'll be some more tutorials as well. I've got some other things that I'd like to talk about in regards to the bike here, so stay tuned, guys, and thanks for watching.